Turn your radio up. Weekend work is now on.
This is how it should be done.
On Shade 45.
Share procedure.
The weekend work with Coach PR, and my guys are not here. Tim Thomas, DJ Stunner, DJ Omanaya. My special guest today is the great Curtis Granderson. The Mets. The former Mets. I'm not even going to say any other team. I know the team across the bridge. I'm not saying that. The team in the D. I'm not going to talk about that. We're talking about the Mets. The Mets, Curtis Granderson.
Hey, well, appreciate you having me. And plus, you got your blue and orange on, so we'll talk.
I had to a little mix of the City, City Connect hat and this little mix of it, man. Appreciate you for actually, pulling up and show. I've been meaning to get at you for a while, man. God did it. I was like, hell yes, thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
I seen you. First of all, let's congratulations to the Mets. Are you is that one of your what's your team? What's one of your best organizations you play for? And you don't have to say the Mets because I'm on it. Be real.
No, I got you. It's so unique because typically somebody has spent a majority of their career with one organization. So okay, that's it. I'm in such an oddity where I had just over 4 years with the Tigers. I had exactly 4 years with the Yankees, and I had just under 4 years with the Mets. So those three teams, those three organizations, I spent almost equal time with. But I'd say probably the one that holds probably the special place in my heart because it was the first. They're the ones that drafted me. It was my first All-Star, my first World Series. Will be Detroit. The rest doesn't happen if I don't start with Detroit. So that was it. But all three of them were great. I mean, they did so many different things throughout the course of my career. But the start of it all, to getting introduced into professional baseball and making it to the major leagues, that's the Old English D.
Right. It had to be the Detroit. They had a hell of a year this year, too.
Yeah.
I thought
they surprised a lot of people. It came out.
Yeah, it surprised a lot of people and everything. So how's it from the sidelines now? Because you're on the MLB network right now, right?
With TBS. So it's been cool. They had Pedro
Sorry.
Martínez, Jimmy Rollins, Lauren Shahadi. And it's just so cool just to watch the game, talk about it. Still some players in there that I've played against or played with. Then obviously a lot of new faces in there that are, making a name for themselves. So just so cool to watch the game, to break it down, to analyze it, tell you how I think things are going to go, tell you what we see, and then give you some understanding of what just happened. Because the part that I think I forgot, after playing for so long and being blessed to be able to do that is there's certain things that happen in a game that just seem normal to me, but to the audience, it's okay. Why did that happen? What was going on in that situation? Has that ever happened before? And provide the understanding of what that is. And I feel like that's probably the big key and the most important part of doing what we do right now. Plus, I get a chance to just watch so many different games from so many different vantage points, which is so cool.
Right. Get to look at it from a different angle.
That's it.
How do you feel about the game now, though? Because I see, of course, you have just like anything else, you have the purists, right? And the OGs always like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. And I see I love the bat flip. I love the bat flip. How do you feel about certain things in baseball now?
Well, if you think about it, the game's been played since the 1800s. And here we are in 2024, soon to be 2025. Things have changed. The equipment has changed. When we first started playing, there were no lights. Now we got lights. The stadiums are different. They're bigger. So change is just inevitable. It's going to be a part of the game at some point in fashion. And I think there's things that, okay, we can't forget that side because that's what got us here. But we also can't turn a blind eye to the new stuff that's going on right now. And I think that's the part where you blend both of it. Hey, if you get one and you hit a bomb, celebrate that thing,
Right.
Whether it's from the bat flip, whether it's the big strikeout in the beginning, the diving play, I'm all for it, enjoy it. You've worked so hard to get to this point where you get a chance to enjoy it. So if you can do it, celebrate it. That's what we do.
Right.
When you go to school and you study for that test and you're not sure what that grade is and they give you that good grade, they put an A on it. They give you a sticker. Some people take it, put it on the refrigerator. You do all those things. It's no different than the sport. You've worked so hard to be able to be in this moment and to do something. So celebrate it and enjoy it. Now, at the same time, if we're disappointed at it, hey, I don't like the way that so-and-so celebrated or do it, don't let them have the success. If I'm the pitcher and I don't want to see you bat flip, well, I got to make a better pitch.
Well, not inside, not no, inside music.
No. Just make a better pitch,
better pitch.
Because I don't want anybody to get hurt. But on the flip side, we were blessed to have Dusty Baker this last year for the playoffs, and he had the privilege of playing with Hank Aaron and then also managing Barry Bonds, two of arguably the best home run hitters of our generation. And I asked him, I said, what's the difference between those two? Because obviously I saw Barry play. I didn't see Hank play. And he said, here's the thing. Hank had pitchers that would knock you down. Barry didn't have that as much as Hank did. They said that it was a sign of disrespect if they didn't throw at you, because we didn't have to worry about you. But if you were that good, we had to throw at you. Right. Hank knew, and that generation of players knew that at some point they gonna do this to me.
To come through at you. That's respect. That's a form of respect at the end of the day. Yeah.
So think about how hard it is to hit when someone's doing this, or you don't know when they're gonna do it. So give credit where credit's due. At the same time, you hit somebody in the head and you don't know how to do it, you can end somebody's career. So I'm definitely not for that side of it. But at the same time, if we need to make you a little uncomfortable like they did back then, it was effective. That's what they did, and it worked.
Without trying to hurt them. Yes, it worked.
There you go.
Right.
Yep.
So, all right. So this is why I'm excited to talk to you all day, bro.
Let's do it.
I know. So, but let's get into some music. I want to get something. What would you listen to before you go out there? You want something, you walk up music. Let's get some music and we come right back because I got questions.
It's so unique. Like, I always wanted to make sure what I came up to bat to, I didn't hear in any other stadium. So if it was the newest song, whatever that was, I knew other players were going to come out to that, no matter how hard it went, all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back to the vault. Let me switch it up on you a little bit. So when I got to New York, I dropped LL Cool J, I Can't Live Without My Radio. I knew nobody was going to do that, right? and then, I flipped it on him. I even had an umpire come up to me afterwards when I played one. He said, that ain't what I think it is. I dropped some Cameo with Candy and Word Up on him, man. I flip it on him. Yeah. Just something that when they announce my name and I step up there, you might tap your feet a little bit, you might laugh a little bit, and you're in for a little something. So it would go from stuff like that to occasionally a little bit of the new. But again, I didn't want to have you hear my song somewhere else. I wanted it to be, okay, when Grandy comes up, I'm hearing something I haven't heard in any other stadium this year.
All right, so let's get into that, man. We'll get some LL, some Cameo, some Candy. Let's do that, man. Curtis Granderson, Coach PR, Weekend Work. Let's go, man. I'm glad you guys not here. Tim, Stunner, Omanaya. Come on, let's go. It's Weekend Work. Let's get it.
Turn your radio up. Weekend Work is now on.
This is how it should be done.
On Shade45.
Share procedure.
All right, back again. It's Weekend Work with Coach PR, Stunner, Omanaya, and Tim Thomas not here, but I'm here with special guest Curtis Granderson. Thank you again. Appreciate you for pulling up. My son is 13. Plays for 13 years. Well, he's 12. Plays 13 years baseball. Loves baseball. Basketball is his second. And one of his favorite player when he started playing, when he was young, like 5 years old, he was watching and reading the books of, for Jackie Robinson for school and all that stuff. And that's why he wears 42. So he really takes baseball serious, right? But I know you know this though, right? That of course there's not a lot of Black players like yourself in the Major League Baseball. Why do you think that happened?
I think it's a number of reasons, and I'm glad you mentioned your son and just his love for Jackie Robinson, because obviously if it wasn't no Jackie, we wouldn't be sitting here having this interview like we are right now. But the great thing that Jackie did is exactly what your son is doing. This was a 4-sport superstar. Baseball, track, basketball, football. He did it all. He lettered in all of them at the university level. And I think that also helped him to become the best baseball player that he is. So now we fast forward, here we are now. You have a lot of kids that are trying to specialize or being told they need to specialize. And if you do, the price to do that at such an early age, like your son's age, at the age of 12, is where it's so hardly hit. And we know statistically between 12 and 13 is where we see the biggest drop of kids that play baseball of any race, any ethnicity. 12 to 13, that's the big marker. But once you start talking about it for African Americans and Black American born kids, I think the biggest challenge that you have, and it's funny you asked this question, my sister currently teaches at Jackson State University, and they're doing a project, and one of it is that they're talking about the decline of blacks in baseball, and why do you think that is? I said, well, one of the biggest things is your son plays on a 13U team. You and I, obviously probably close in age, when we were that age playing and wanted to play baseball, there was a rec league, there was a house league, there was a park league, there was the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club. There was some form of accessibility where if I wanted to play, I could play. I may have to sell a couple candy bars. I may have to do a little of this on the side, but I got my T-shirt, I got my hat, I got my number. I can go play, right?
Yeah.
You look at where we are now. If I want to play where your son's at, I'm not going to ask you to tell me what it is, but the fees and the teams and the travel costs just to be on the team could range between $1,000 and $5,000. Now, remember, I said just to be on the team. This doesn't include the equipment. This doesn't include the games, the travel, the hotel, none of that stuff. So now you got to say, okay, all right, I'm trying to figure out what bills I got to pay. And your child is saying, I want to play baseball. We got to say, hey, I don't know if we can play that particular sport because the price has gotten so high. So there are some scholarships if the kid is talentedly well, but if I just want to play, you and my friend, my neighbor, my family, we just want to go out there and do it. We can't necessarily afford $1,000 a pop to go out there. But when it was before and it was $25, $50, and if you couldn't sell enough candy bars, we still got you on the team. That's why the numbers were high, in my opinion, because you have to start at some point. And if we're not even getting the introduction at the young level and keeping them once they get to 13 and then having a chance to play in high school or play in college or ultimately get drafted, it's hard for that number to be high at the big league level if the number starts getting dwindled down when they're young. So I think that's a big key to it.
Right. And then you have to find like 18 friends to be like a 9-on-9 if you want to really play, just play in the neighborhood. It's not like basketball, you play a 1-on-1, go to park or whatever, or football, 2-on-2 football, right? Baseball, you want to play in the field. How are you going to play in the field with that,
And you need the equipment to do it, Like I said, if you
need the equipment to do that.
We can have a ball, and that ball could be as raggedy as can be, as long as it got enough air and bounce. We don't even need no net. All we need is the rim.
That's right.
So we can go out there and do that. So if on the baseball side, we need at least one baseball, we need at least one glove, we need at least one bat. And to anybody that's listening, I want you to go and Google the price of a glove and a metal baseball bat today. I mean, those metal baseball bats cost between $300 and $500. So
easy, bro. My son has me thinking that the bat is going to make him Barry Bonds, bro. I have to go 10 bats. I'm buying 10 bats, bro, for season. I'm like, yo, Dylan, this is not it. It's you. Let's work on you. And those bats are $400.
And they all think it is. And then the crazy part is your son's going to get bigger, right? So he's going to outgrow what he has. So next year he needs another one. And then don't let the regulations change or the rules change or the league change. Well, this bat isn't certified. You got to get a different bat. So next thing you know, in a matter of 2-3 years, you just spend $1,200, $1,500 on baseball bats.
Those bats. And the balls, forget it. A ball's going to go, you're going to have to get a bucket of balls because they're losing the balls.
Losing the balls, can't find the balls. Then you got to get a glove that's going to last. And you might be able to find a little discount on the gloves, but we still need our cleats and all that stuff. So if you look at all the sports in general, right, we all need a shoe. So that's neutral, right? Basketball shoe, baseball shoe, football shoe. The basketball, we only need one. Like you said, we need a bucket of baseballs. We don't need, typically they give you the helmet when you play football. Like that's part of your registration fees, right? The one football is for everybody to use, the shoulder pads, you get all that stuff. But when it's my turn to hit, I need my bat. You need your bat. I might be bigger, I might be smaller, so I can't just necessarily use your bat like you used to. So that I think all those little things coupled together have started to make the numbers change slightly. The great thing about it is we have seen an influx of young Black kids playing, again, under the age of 12. Now we just got to keep them in the system to keep them through the pipeline.
I've seen that. And I know that you're doing a lot for the communities as well, working with the communities. What's some of the things that you're doing?
So we have a group called the Players Alliance that was started in 2020, and this was Edwin Jackson, Cameron Maben, and Dee Gordon, former Major League Baseball players who came together in the heels of COVID when everything was going on in 2020 and said, okay, how do we come together and do what the generations before us were trying to do? The Dave Winfields, the Willie Hortons, the Andre Dawsons, those groups of players that were trying to pave the way and say, okay, we need more representation both on the field and the coaches, from the front office, ownership, all those different things, but just life would happen. You'd get excited. You get everybody together. You'd have a meeting and say, okay, next year we're going to do the exact same thing. Next year would roll around. Okay, I can't make it, or I'm injured, or I got surgery. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, in 2020, wasn't nowhere to go. And the league was locked out. So everybody's home. We found this great thing that you and I are on right now called Zoom. We were able to come together and put together the Players Alliance. Now here we are, it's 2024, and we've been able to introduce a lot of programming, again, to those that are introduced to the game, to keep them in the pipeline. So as they move up the ranks and they run into that hurdle between 12 and 13, how do I stay in the game? We've been able to address some of those. Now, once I'm in the game, I'm in high school, and I'm looking at the colleges and the pro routes, having mentorship, having the right advice. Does it make sense for you to go to college? Does it make sense for you to go to which college? Does it make sense for you to go to the draft? Getting the scouts out there, getting you accessible, doing all those different things. And that's what the Players Alliance has been doing.
That's nice. That's nice. See that baseball, they for colleges, they weren't given scholarships. They just started now. Now you get scholarships for baseball.
Yeah, so right now the way it sits, as you and I had this conversation, a Division I baseball school is maxed out at 11.7 scholarships. A baseball team typically carries anywhere between 30 and 40 players. So if you do the math, we got to start dwindling. You get a piece, I get a piece, and we go on from there. And if a player is so good, you want to give that player a full scholarship. Well, now you've cut your numbers down to 10.7, and we still got to fill the full team. Compare that to football, where you get 80 scholarships, or basketball, where you get 12 full scholarships and there's only 15 players on the team. So now there is some stuff on the books right now that's been announced that, hey, NCAA has talked about taking that minimum higher. So baseball would ultimately go up to about 30 scholarships, give or take, which would be great. The challenge, though, is that not every school issues out their full amount of scholarships. Because if I want to give you a scholarship, that doesn't just get zeroed out. That money has to come from somewhere. So if it's a $30,000 scholarship to University of Colorado, I'm just throwing that name out there. It's a Division I program. We need $30,000 to pay for your scholarship. Some of the schools can't afford that. So there's certain schools right now, Division I schools, that are only issuing out 3 scholarships, 4 scholarships, 5, and they need to put together a competitive team. So you have to get creative and start looking at either the NIL stuff that's now new, the name, image, and likeness, some additional grants or scholarships that you might be able to package and couple together, but you're still probably trying to come out of pocket a little bit. And again,
the transfer portal too, right?
The transfer portal now opens up some things for you. So they're trying to address that stuff a little bit. I've really been pushing at it, especially because if you look at the last 4 years, again, we're talking about number of blacks at the major league level going down. Well, again, I look at, how do you get into the pro ranks? You got to get drafted, right? As an American-born player, you got to get drafted. Well, 80% of the draft has come from college. So you're telling me if I need to get to pros, I got to go to college. Well, then I got to get into college. And I just told you the scholarships are down. So if we can get the scholarships up, that provides more opportunities and makes it a decision go, you know what, am I going to go the basketball route, which is giving me a full scholarship, the football route, which is giving me a full scholarship, or the baseball route, which is giving me a partial scholarship, and I still got to come out of pocket. Which decision are you going to make? You know, you see what I'm saying?
1 + 1 = 2. I'm not a mathematician, but
and college tuition has not gone down. It is going up. So, you know, to have that debt and to think about it from a family standpoint, you got to say, okay, I'm trying to go where I don't owe any money. That's the option I'm going to choose. So if that's another sport, that's what I'm doing. Or if that's another school, that's what I'm doing. But if you know that baseball can be in the mix and it's going to be a full scholarship, that's a game changer right there for us.
Right, exactly, man. We need that. Let's get some more music. What do you want to hear, Curtis Granderson?
Bring it back. Give me some Outkast, you know? Some Andre, some Big Boy. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do that, man. You heard what the man said, Stunner. Play some Outkast. Got you, baby. It's weekend work. Curtis Granderson, Coach PR. Let's get it.
Turn your radio up. Weekend work is now on.
This is how it should be done.
On Shade 45.
Share procedure.
We're back. Mr. Curtis Granderson, Coach PR's Weekend Work, man. Very interesting. I told you I could speak to you all day. I got mad questions for you. Another thing before I do get into something else, because you brought that up, I didn't get back onto it. When you said that who you work with Martinez, Pedro Martinez, and you also work with Big Poppy.
Jimmy Rollins and Pedro Martinez is who we got. Yep.
Who you got, right? So how is it working with those guys? Is it still like, because you guys are athletes, competitive. Is it still like a competitive atmosphere in there? Like, oh, I'm gonna bust your ass today on here. You're not gonna let me have it. Like shit like that, like is it like that or no?
It's competitive, but it's still like starstruck. Like that's Pedro Martinez, right? That's Cy Young winning and Hall of Fame inductee. And so you see that and you're still like, okay, that's Pedro. And I'm still in education mode when I see someone like that. I'm asking questions. Okay, how did you do this? And how are you doing?
Because this is your first year there, right? Is this your first year there?
So we just wrapped up. This will be my 4th year total with TBS. And now we're on the books. I'm actually a free agent, but we're going to see what that may look like for this upcoming year. Okay. I would love the opportunity to remain there. So we'll see how that all happens. But
I felt like I saw more of you this year, though, than any other year, though. Like,
I think part of it is with the playoffs. We had a lot of the East Coast teams in there. We had the Yankees. We were covering for the American League, so that helps out a lot when you get those Yankee markets or the Mets in there. We were covering a lot of those games, so I think that helped out.
Right.
But it's so cool talking to the individuals like that, and we had Dusty Baker on this year. We had who else did we have on? Buster Posey. We had Mark DeRosa. We had Dexter Fowler. We had one of my all-time favorites, David Justice, in there. So when I see these icons and these greats, one, I'm just asking questions as a fan. Two, just from learning point, because a lot of families and kids are coming to me trying to get information. And I didn't play every position. So any little nugget I can get that I can pass on is great. But then it still comes back where there still is that competition side. Like Pedro will say, okay, all right, if I'm facing you, I would throw this and I would throw that. So he knows. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all right, if you would throw that, I'm going to try to do this.
He seemed like he was popping shit, a lot of shit playing baseball, though. He seemed like he was that shit talker. Like, so it seems like he would still carry that on in front of the camera.
Hey, and he do it with them eyes. He just be looking at you, and just got that look. Now, remember, Pedro's like 175 pounds. He's not big, but he throw that ball at you, whack, and hit you, and then just stare you down. He would not back down.
He wouldn't back down.
He was in the middle of a lot of things, but it's just so cool.
A lot of things. I remember that Yankee one. That was like the classic one with the old coach.
Him and Don Zimmer. Yeah.
Don Zimmer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He explained, he goes, man, I was just trying to move him out the way. I ain't throwing him. I was trying to move him out the way. So, but even, before that, I got a chance to work with Gary Sheffield on that show. So Gary was on that Yankee team. Pedro's with the Red Sox. And they talk about it. Pedro threw at Gary. Now, mind you, I threw a ball at you, and here you are years later, we working a show together. So they talk about that moment and stuff like that. He goes, I hit Gary, not because of Gary, but because of what had happened the at-bats before. So that was that baseball side of it that was in there, the past few decades that has slowly started to move itself out. But remember, he didn't necessarily go in there to injure, to hurt. It was the same message. Like it was in the butt, it was in the stomach.
And it's a mental thing too. It's a mental thing though, right? If I back him up, brush him off, or whatever, let him know, oh shit.
Yeah, to make sure you don't get comfortable. Think about it. Like I love basketball. You said your son loved basketball. I mean, before you would have a hard foul. It wasn't necessarily to hurt. It was like, hey, just don't keep coming up in the lane like that, right? Right. They called the bad boys for a reason. Like I'm blessed where I got a chance to see Isaiah Thomas over there with the NBA TV over with TBS. And he talks about, he's like, that bad boy image, like that was a thing. Like there were teams that were afraid because of what we did. And it wasn't that we were hurting. That's what we did. So you had to think twice. Do I want to go up there?
Twice when you came up inside there.
You had to think about it. So it was just cool just to hear and see that. So from that side of it, working with everybody, I'm still a fan. Anytime I get a chance to see, and I'm also in learning mode, I'm trying to do that.
Who did you like growing up? Who was your, when you looked up to the baseball player?
Man,
or was it baseball? Because I know you play basketball too.
Yeah, so it was a mix. King Griffey Jr. on the baseball side. I got a chance to play against him, got a chance to meet him. He's the reason why I swing a black baseball bat. There was no other reason than the fact that I saw him do it and I do it. In my parents' house to this day, they still have a poster up of Ken Griffey Jr. on my wall to this day.
Wow.
So that was that on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then being in Chicago, I wanted to be like Mike. I had my Jordan Jammer when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. And I was hoping I could get up
You ain't
there.
got to rub Mike in. Don't rub Mike in, please. All right. I'm a Knicks fan. Be easy, Kurt. We're homies now.
Hey,
come on.
But I enjoyed the Knicks. Like I enjoyed John Starks. I enjoed Ewing and X-Men,
You
all
was
those
a
guys.
Chicago fan. Stop it.
No. I said I was a Michael Jordan fan.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously the Bulls in the 90s, it was great to be a part of it. But man, like I love that rivalry, from both sides. It wasn't like I was trying to see the Bulls dominate or the Knicks dominate. I just loved that rivalry. It was great to see it.
Yeah.
And I remember when Starks did that baseline dunk, I was in the driveway on my adjustable rim
trying to get that
night, trying to do that same dunk as well. So I was doing all that stuff.
I still got that poster. Okay. So now that there was something else. You got me caught up with the John Starks thing now. Damn. I hate when I get stuck in this. I'll start thinking about that. What's your plans now? And matter of fact, I know what it was. What do you think about Juan Soto? Where's he going to go?
So I said something prior to the season ending. I said, if the Yankees win a World Series and Juan Soto is a key to that, he has to sign with the Yankees. Not he, meaning the Yankees have to do everything in their power to keep him. If they lose, you can be okay with letting them go. And now that they didn't win a World Series, there's a solid chance he's not going to be with the Yankees. I feel like the Yankees are going to go to their limit, whatever that limit happens to be, and say, we're going to make our best final offer. Here it is. And I think there's some other teams at play, such as the Mets that you have, that you're rocking. They got, some deep pockets. The Dodgers got deep pockets.
Can the Dodgers afford them still? Like, that's what everybody's saying.
They got money. they got that long money,
But they all. I see how they broke down Ohtani's contract. So I'm like, maybe they could because the way they broke it down.
Yeah, you can get creative with the contracts. It's just a matter of if that's the type of contract that you want. I mean, it's cool to have deferred money. Yeah, Bobby's still getting paid. I know the union doesn't love that, but hey. Money late, that you can defer, and you can defer it with interest is a good thing too. But at the same time, getting money up front where I know it's guaranteed and there's just no chance of default and no bankruptcy and none of that stuff, which has never happened, is always for sure. So you want to try to get as much as you can up front. So that way I can do whatever I want with it. If I want to invest it in and I want to make it grow and I want to spend it, I can do that. If you owe it to me, some stuff may happen between now and then. So those are a couple things that we have to think about.
Give me my money now, fool.
Give it to me. I want to make sure I got it. But I think since the Yankees didn't win the World Series, there's a good chance he will not be with the Pinstripes in the Bronx.
Wow. That's straight from Curtis Granderson, man. Appreciate you, brother. Really
hey,
do,
no
man.
problem. Thank you for having me.
We got to get you back. I need you back up here, though, when baseball season starts, bro.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get back in the studio. Happen. And we got to get everybody to show up today on the weekend. I know it's a weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to bring the whole crew, but hopefully we get you in the studio, no Zoom, and we do it in the studio. We could do to make that happen when you're in New York. Whenever you're in New York, we got to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. Curtis Granderson, Weekend Work, Coach PR. Let's get it. Thank you, man.
Turn your radio up. Weekend Work is now on.
This is how it should be done.
On Shade 45.
Share procedure.